Chris A., who we met yesterday from YouTube, says it wasn't really dancing. What was it? What did I miss? What happened yesterday? I missed everything.
You did.
I just went to bed, and everyone's like, most amazing preseason game of the history. What did Mark Davis do? What did he do?
He did like a little bit of it's like what you would expect from a 65-year-old white guy.
Okay.
Amid the pro athletes. He kind of did like a little shimmy shake, and he did his thing.
Good.
He did his thing. He was happy, and the Aces beat the Liberty on a last-second 3-pointer. Actually, it was a long 2 miss. But, WNBA is here to stay, and it's actually here now in the Bay Area.
Absolutely.
And I'm stoked.
We're going to go to the phones in a sec. 888-957-9570. Where is your head, honestly? Like, what state of mind are you in? Have you already transitioned in some form to a Golden State Warriors state of mind, or does this 49ers season still have your full attention? 888-957-9570. We thought a fun thing to talk about, considering that I woke up today and I'm like, why the hell are you guys all inspired by the word? Right. Like, calm down. The Warriors and Kings have the same record. They're 0-0. What is happening? I get that, they're fun to watch. Hell, they're the Warriors. That's not news. But anyway, we'll get to your calls in a sec, but we did want to play for you what the chef himself had to say on the importance of even preseason action.
We got to get into the winning spirit a little earlier than you probably expect, but it's like everything we do in the preseason is trying to develop an identity, especially with a new group of guys in our rotation. Obviously, CP, you see the benefit of his sure-handedness with the ball in the fourth quarter. With Loon and Draymond out, Dario did a great job stepping up. Trace, unbelievable minutes. So it might seem like it's just a preseason win, but it's all about developing an identity of how to close games, withstand adversity, and we did that.
Yeah, that I can feel. He's talking about right, but he's like what I catch there is not even what he's saying; it's what it sounds like behind him.
Biggest win of his career. That's what I heard him say. No,
I mean developing a flow and a chemistry,
identity,
an identity. Sure, that all makes sense. But behind him, those fans, they didn't want to go home.
No.
So unbelievable. All right, let's go to David in Brentwood. Hey, David, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for calling, man.
Yeah, really quick. The point I want to make is, I sat there and watched the game with my 6-year-old son last night, and it was a great game. But the energy and just the chemistry of this specific team this year feels like those championship teams that we had in the past. What do you guys think about that? That's my opinion on it.
Well,
it's just different with Chris Paul.
Yeah,
a little early, David, but I like the vibes. I do like the vibes that you're putting out there.
But that's what they are.
Vibes.
They're nothing more than that.
Sure.
And vibes can change in an absolute heartbeat.
They can, but what he's talking about and what I heard Steph say, and you and I are watching right now the finishing lineup that included Saric and CP3 and Steph and Wiggins, and you've got a team out there that can be versatile. You could have Draymond in, you had Clay in there in the finishing lineup, and they've got more veteran pieces now. It feels like they fit a little bit better this year than they did last year, and I know it's preseason, but they treated this game last night like it mattered.
Do you know what I think is going on here with the Warriors themselves and the fans? Boy, you'll relate to this. I relate to this. I bet everybody relates to this. You know when you get out of a bad relationship?
I don't know what you mean, Mark.
Is
this thing on?
When that happens?
Sure.
And you wake up and you're like, oh my God.
I'm out.
This is amazing. So wait a minute. You're telling me that person's not yelling at me anymore. You're telling me that I can do whatever I see fit with this day, with this week, with this month, with my money, whatever. Like, you mean to tell me that I have regained control of my situation?
Of me. I got my me back.
There's nothing that feels better than that.
pretty good.
If you've been, if you're getting abused or if it's just wrong, whatever it is, there's nothing better than that feeling. I think that's what's going on with the Golden State Warriors right now. I think that everybody, whether it's the Warriors themselves and the joy that they look like they're playing with, and then the way that sort of emanates from them and the fans pick it up, and David's like, I feel it, man. I'm feeling championship vibes. And the season hasn't even started yet.
He watched the game with his 6-year-old.
Which is addictive. Like,
it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than hanging out with your kids and getting them involved with what you love, and they love it too, and you get to spend time together. That is the number one thing on earth. So that's why sports, by the way, for me, is special.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever like sit around someday and go, why the hell do we care about this stuff so much? We don't even know these people.
Not really. And we know them better than like 99% of the people who don't know them.
Right. And some of them will put the jersey on who you've been rooting against your whole life. And then all of a sudden you're like, yay!
CP3, I love you!
Like, we're nuts. What is actually going on there? Well, the Warriors are the conduit. They bring people together. They bring you together with your people. You create memories, and therefore it becomes special. But that's what I'm seeing and smelling with the Golden State Warriors and the whole fan base right now. This isn't about blame Jordan Poole. This is about the Warriors from a relationship level last year didn't work. It felt awful for everyone involved. You could tell that they weren't having fun. And if they're not having fun, we're not having fun. And now it looks like the cage is gone.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah. Freedom. And freedom for Jordan Poole, and maybe not freedom for Denny Advia. I don't know if you saw that viral video that came out yesterday, because Jordan Poole went on an absolute heater yesterday, and there's a clip of Denny on the weak side standing there open at the three-point line, and Jordan Poole decided that he was going to take his own shot, shoot a shot. That's all he's got.
Jordan decided that?
He did.
That's wild.
And so early ripples of possible discord in Washington, but we'll deal with that down the road. But for what you said about this team, it does feel a little bit different. It actually feels a lot different in terms of, the vibe around the team. And yeah, you got Saric and you got Chris Paul and you've got other veterans to be named later, but it feels like this team is completely removed from what they had last year.
I'm just looking at Jordan Poole's stat line.
He had 42, right?
41.
Yeah.
In 27 minutes. He went 10 of 19 from the field. He went 6 of 12 from 3, 15 of 16 from the stripe. He had 5 rebounds, Jordan Poole. He only had 2 assists.
Yeah.
And he did have 4 turnovers, 41 points, but a plus-minus of only 2 in a game that the Wizards won by 25.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of interesting.
Curious.
I guess. Yeah. It's surprising. I'm not saying it's some sort of, write it down in ink problem or whatever. But Jordan is going to cook. There's no doubt. And I think as Warrior fans, be ready for that now. This is going to feel very, very different than James Wiseman in Detroit, where every once in a while it's like, oh, that's plucky.
Yeah.
He had 12 off the bench.
He had a double-double this preseason.
Jordan's going to have some 50 burgers. Jordan's going to have some 50 burgers this year.
No doubt.
No doubt. And I think we need to be ready for that, even when it happens on the same night when Chris Paul goes 3 of 14 and the Warriors take an L. And be ready for it now.
Yeah.
And I would point to what all of you are saying today. We'll just don't worry about the stats. If the vibe feels this much better, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. This was a good thing because of that.
Right.
And that's it.
And you got 1 year Chris Paul most likely, and then he'll be, moving on or
probably
retiring or whatever he does after that. But for this year, and I do think that Joe Lacob looked at it in terms of that, like, let's load up this year. And, Jordan Poole's contract was tradable, and you bring in Chris Paul. And I know Steiny was maybe tongue-in-cheek yesterday about the Draymond contract being similarly movable down the road. Maybe he was serious, and we'll see how this year goes. But in terms of this year and this team, you've got, Saric, who's a veteran, and whether or not Rudy Gay makes the team. You've got an older team that feels like it's loaded up for 1 year.
The Sarge thing, by the way, I mean, not to get too X's and O's, I think that is really going to work out. I mean, I loved it at the time.
Yeah.
And the preseason has looked good. I like hearing what people are saying about what's going on in practice and whatnot. I think the Sarge thing could end up being a really, really important signing for the Golden State Warriors. Let's go to Dave in San Jose. Hi, Dave. You're on with Willie and Debbie. What are you doing? And gone. Phone's okay?
Yeah.
Been doing okay?
Oh, yeah. We're good.
Shrug.
Yeah. The phone? We good? The other piece, I think.
I don't know. You tell me.
I know that the big criticism is that Steve Kerr doesn't play the young players. Darn it. Well, you got Trace Jackson Davis, who started last night. And I think he provides a little bit of, I'll call it Looney light. He's not necessarily a big threat to score on his own. He's not the passer that Looney is. He'll learn to be a better defender, but he's a big who you can put in with a lineup that has a lot more shooting around it. I do think that he can be a big man because Saric or Sharic, as Bobby Fitz would have us all pronounce it correctly.
Is it Sharic?
I believe so.
It's really hard to do without sounding like you're drunk.
I was drunk. Yeah, it's a little
honestly,
bit of a tough.
Do you want us to do that? Dario Saric. It sounds like you've had one too many.
We should get Bobby Fitz on, and he can walk us through it as he would, because
Sharic.
He would want us to do Sharic. Sharic.
I don't know.
Dario Sharic.
I need a drink.
But Trace Jackson Davis, I do believe, can be a player who can come in and be more of a typical big man, rebound, block a shot, and, spell Kevon Looney, whereas Sharic is going to be more of a stretch 4 or a stretch 5.
That's going to take some getting
it
used
is.
to.
Yeah. Hang in there.
Is that real?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
He's been in the NBA for a long time. I've never called him Dario Saric.
Because you've been
Dario
wrong.
Saric.
Your fellow Foster City brother, Bob Fitzgerald.
No, I'm sure he's right. I'm sure he's asked Dario himself.
Right.
That's the way now, there is confusion sometimes with this stuff.
There is.
You know what I mean?
Always.
Sometimes the players don't care. Sometimes they wait until they've achieved something to let everybody know. And then sometimes even they're confused. I remember walking right up to the locker of Mauricio Dubon. And I'm like, listen, I think I've just about had enough of this. This whole Dubon thing. Everybody, Dubon. And then everyone's like, it's not Dubon, it's Dubon. And but I'm also going, dude, like, I know what your heritage is. This is not Mauricio Dubon. And I walked over to him and said, how do you say it? He goes, it's Dubon. I go, how's mom say it? Oh, he goes, Dubon. I'm like, well, what the hell is it then, Mauricio? And he's like, I think I'll just go to Houston. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Totally.
So anyway.
That's a lot of these names. Yeah. Yes.
I would love, can we get Dario on? And then that'll just be our first question. Dario, please.
Who are you?
You know how, like, if you ever end up, like, the news cameras are at the bar and they interview you or whatever, and then they don't know who you are. You're just man on the street.
Right.
And so the first thing they'll ask you, could you please spell and pronounce your first and last name?
Right.
So that they've got it, so that they can use it later on the news. I think we should do that with Dario. Can you please spell and pronounce your first and last name?
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there and not sound drunk.
Right. I think the easier way to do it would be to defer to Bob Fitzgerald, because Bob knows all.
Yeah, and he might be messing with us. He's got a crazy sense of humor, that Bob.
He does, but when it comes to pronunciations, it's a pronunciation sensation.
That's what I was trying to get you to.
Thank you. And Bob will always defer to accuracy over tomfoolery.
We're streaming live on YouTube, okay? Like we always are. Get on over there. Fun to chat with a lot of you, not just here on the chat, but so many of our YouTube faithful in the building at the Warriors Summit yesterday. So let me say it out loud. I've already written it to everybody on YouTube, but my goodness, what a great job by all of you, and so much fun to see all of your smiling faces. And a special shout out to those of you who ended up in the selfie with me and Goo and the lovely Christy, which is percolating, a percolation sensation
nice.
On my IG feed. Thank you. On my IG feed, MT Willard, right now, you can just absolutely feel the energy coming off the picture. It's one of my favorite pictures that we've gotten that's work-related this year. So just thank you to each and every one of you. But we're always streaming there. You can head on over there. Sometimes Dibs gets naked. You never know when that's going to happen. And so that's the place to be, all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Yeah, man, I get it. I've been beaten into submission here. I woke up and I'm like, guys, come on. Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins. We gotta start building this up. 6 weeks ago, a lot of you thought Kirk Cousins was going to be the future 49er quarterback.
Yeah.
How about now? Who's better? Are you convinced that Brock Purdy is already better than Kirk Cousins? Forget the whole quarterback power rankings. Let's just talk Kirk. And what if you did take money out of it? Which you can't, but what if you did? Kirk or Brock? And you guys are like, okay, but what about that game last night? And I'm like, what about that game
It was
last
crazy
night?
on the thread, yeah.
What about it?
Crazy, because
Warriors are 0-0.
You came out initially and you were like, I didn't watch it. And I was like, okay, I wasn't surprised because it's a preseason game. And why would you watch it? And the only reason why I watched it is Tim and Tom captured me on the drive home, and I had an empty house. And I put it on, and I was like, damn, this is not dribble, I could care less. Just who are you, shoot a three, and we'll see you in a week. It was basketball. It was defense. It was intensity. The crowd was into it. And so I was like, wow, I'm going to watch this. And then in the morning, I asked you, what's your Niner topic anyway?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
What do you got?
Yeah, because you hit me with that yesterday. So I'm like, I'm going to hit him with his own medicine.
I felt that.
I knew you felt that because you're not a dummy. Yeah. And what you came back with, and I was making French toast for the baby, I was like, damn, Mila, you're going to have to feed yourself because your topic was awesome about the whole Kirk or Brock and Brock or Kirk and where are you now and who would you rather have and all that. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Mark is spot on, but man, we're still 4 days away. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the Brock or Kirk, the Kirk or Brock, but I'm also thinking about where we are in the cycle, and we're at Thursday, and I felt like coming off of that last night, it was a preseason game, but was it really? I know it doesn't count in the standings, but it feels like last night counted for something.
Yeah. What?
For you're still the little brother.
Okay.
You stay down here. Stay down here.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I would love for people to actually put some words to that.
Step back on De'Aaron 28-footer night.
Yeah.
He even did the night.
We're sitting here watching NBC Sports Bay Area. That's also where you heard the Steph Curry cut that we played a few minutes ago. Yeah, it's a thing of beauty. I could watch Steph Curry shoot a basketball even if he's in a pool with his kids.
Right.
Of course. It's amazing. And he was into it, and he's got his tongue out. And he can do the night.
Yeah.
Even though De'Aaron Fox still had 5 seconds for a shot the other way.
Whatever.
All of that stuff. Look at the bench when the shot goes in. They're holding each other as if they just won a playoff game. I get it.
Draymond in his sweats.
Draymond is absolutely guns up. Look at this whole thing. Everybody is really into it. So put some words to that. If last night counted, it counted for what? What do you think?
It counted for the general feelings, the feels about what you call the adorables. The adorables are still adorable. And what that was yesterday was a little pat on the head of Sacramento. You're good, you're cute, but we're still us, and you're still you.